Welcome back, Guardians. In today's report, we will discuss the Golden Age technology that almost exterminated the Iron Lords, brought about the revival of the fallen House of Devils, and threatened the last city, only a year after the Taken War had reached its conclusion. We speak, of course, of the Clovis Bray nanotechnology wonder simply called Siva. But what was to be a technological Golden Age wonder, said to assist colonization efforts and provide for humanity's first galactic pioneers, fell victim to the collapse's isolation. Without an active war mind or command structure to report to, Siva fell back on its original core directives, the consumption of all matter to be harnessed as energy or recreated in an enhanced image. Siva's nanotechnology process of reusing and reshaping matter has been likened to Glimmer and its malleable properties, but the relationship between both is relatively unexplored. What we do know comes from our knowledge of the recent Siva crisis and various scientific reports left behind by the Golden Age Techno Corporation Clovis Bray. But be warned, Siva and the events surrounding its recent revival are both intriguing and unnerving, slowly unwrapping the mythic legend of Clovis Bray being a humanity-first corporation and rather a group with a much more sinister hold on the illusion of power. Imagine for a moment, you're a colonist of Earth, a human born during an age of gold, technological marvel. You were selected or volunteered for a space colonization program, but unbeknownst to you, you signed on for the Exodus program, which was marketed to you as a monumentous occasion for humanity, not a grand route into the stars. Let's get right to it. How can Clovis Bray help the Exodus project? We've found a way to push our matter encryption technology even further. Habitats, equipment, repairs of all kind, all these things can be made from one material. Siva doesn't expire, degrade, or forget. It can remain dormant even on long voyages. Nearly any problem a deep space colonist should have, Siva can fix. And how long do the effects of Siva last? Well, Siva requires no external power source, so forever. What is documented there is believed to be a conversation between General Chen Lanshu and a Dr. Willa Bray. But just imagine for a moment, as an explorer on a new world, light years from your own home, you have at your fingertips the possibility to recreate anything your imagination desired or your survival deemed necessary. A super technology that would convert the innate or otherwise useless matter around you into structures, tools, and potentially even life-sustaining food, all the while creating roadways, infrastructure, or anything its instructions required of it. This was the marvel of the Golden Age, the brilliance of a Dr. Zeren, Willa Bray, and a Dr. Zhang. One of Siva's original creators, a Clovis Bray researcher by the name of Zeren, is presumably responsible for the first concept of Siva or a prototype nanotechnology similar to it. However, even at Siva's birth, it was already questioned as being too simple-minded to act on a set of pre-programmed codes. Zeren argued that while Siva's potential was indeed limitless, the possible side effects to rampant nanotechnology with a simplified guideline of consume, enhance, and then replicate harbored too many hazards to be pursued further, even for peacetime applications. Too much could go wrong, and such immense power with seemingly no one but an AI in control allowed for far too many unintended possibilities. But Willa Bray, never seeking to further her legacy in the name of the Clovis Bray Corporation, chose to ignore Zeren. I understand your concerns. You're a good researcher, Zeren. Your work here has been deeply appreciated. So you'll listen. You'll cease this line of inquiry. On the contrary, we'll take your valuable findings and run with them. Your work will live forever. It's almost ironic how accurate Willa Bray's words were to Zeren. His work would live forever, just not in the way Willa Bray had originally intended. Zeren was ultimately removed from his position and later replaced, as was the way of any ambitious leader. Willa saw this Siva technology as the foundation to her legacy to immortalize her family name on the stone slab of time, etched so deeply that all will remember her accomplishments. Eventually, a Dr. Zhang would presumably take over the Siva project, most likely under a direct request by Willa to avoid another Zorain incident. We have always believed that the Golden Age was a time of understanding and progress, but humans and blind, unchecked ambition have never mixed well across our long and scarred history. But when we combine such talent and aspirations with the technological potentials that came with the traveler's arrival, rarely are limitations put into place. It was, after all, a golden age, and the corporation destined to deliver humanity into the stars and beyond was to be Clovis Bray by any means. Siva was created as a promise to the future, but it was also a threat. It is up to the Guardian to face that threat and complete the final mission of the Iron Lords. Written by Master Cryptarch Tyra Karn on a report on the reactivation of Siva. When combined with the reports of the Iron Lord Saladin, it would set the stage for Guardians to once again begin re-exploring the once quarantined plague lands of old Russia territory, to either confirm the intelligence on the resurfacing Siva threat, or establish another forward operating post against one of the city's oldest villains, the House of Devils. But what the after-actions reports describe are difficult to convey. At first, it was assumed Guardians had discovered a new fallen house, one that had a keen interest in augmenting themselves with machinery to enhance their performance. But as they investigated deeper into the Plague Lands, in an area deemed Site 6, they began to uncover the truth. With the guidance of Lord Saladin, one of the last Iron Lords, besides Lady Aphrodite, reports of what had been occurring in the Plague Lands sparked the interest of the Vanguard, and would ultimately begin the revival of the Iron Lords, cultivated by a new generation of Guardians. But before we discuss the Siva crisis, that Guardians have only recently eliminated, or at least quieted, we should discuss the events prior. Back during the age of warlords and despots, where Guardians were not all the champions of humanity that they exemplify now. Back during the age of the Risen. Initially, it was assumed that Siva would remain dormant without a command structure or AI warmind to issue directives or dictate protocol. It's assumed, and due to the close proximity and overlap of the colonization efforts, that the warmind Rasputin had direct oversight on Siva, its application, and the ultimate deployment during the Golden Age. However, during the events of the collapse, Rasputin had either lost the functionality required to maintain overwatch on Siva, or a myriad of other issues could have been, at the time, blocking Rasputin to implement the needed failsafes. These failsafes, to protect the wildly malleable Siva technology, would influence the decision of the original Iron Lords long before the Siva crisis and Taken War. Their notion was to utilize this technology, access it with the help or guidance of the warmind Rasputin, and pave a surefire way for humanity to succeed in creating a new Golden Age. Unfortunately, their preconceptions of Rasputin's demeanor and the overall stability of Siva was wholly misguided. Their mission, however, was not, and although the Iron Lords would fail to bring about a lasting change worthy of being called a Golden Age, they did formulate a name for themselves while combating the various risen warlords in hopes of uniting humanity's stagnated warring factions. It was during this time that the Iron Lords would attempt to bring peace and stability to the surrounding wilderness of what was to be the last city. During this period, Guardians were only referred to as Risen, and not all Risen fought for the same ideals or codes of honor as we do now. The Iron Lords, in a way, were just the strongest of all previous warlords they had ousted, and while they are recorded as being just, compassionate, and fair to those they oversaw, it is perhaps this reason that Rasputin did not wish to offer their aid in their quest of restoring Siva. Fellwinter tried to communicate with the Warmind, called it Rasputin, said he could make it understand, tell it we meant no harm. Rasputin didn't answer with words. Perhaps Rasputin saw these Iron Lords as no better or no different than the other risen warlords, and while their cause was justified, it mattered little to the Warmind. Perhaps Rasputin knew from the start the terrible potential of Siva, and knew that Felwinter and his fellow Iron Lords wouldn't be placated by Rasputin with words of reason alone. Perhaps violence was the best answer. There's simply too many possibilities. And these new reports that Siva somehow survived the bunker's destruction under Site 6, that the Splicers, those House of Devil Fallen transformed into grotesque metal abominations, had though been defeated. There is another unknown House of Fallen utilizing Siva. Perhaps they are the remnants of the House of Devil simply fleeing in an exodus, or this is something much more sinister waiting for us in the cold earth of the European Dead Zone. But we've omitted so much in this report, and perhaps one report would not do all Siva justice. Fully analyzing the information of Axis's House of Devils Splicers, the loss of the Iron Lords, and these reports of Guardians facing reanimated Siva Iron Lords. Truly, such devastating potential Siva could muster, consuming matter and replicating, all the while enhancing the original. An aggressive, expansive technology with no master other than the one who could understand its language of code, although many theories on Siva suggest it no longer is an unintelligent string of zeros and ones, but rather a full-fledged technology marvel rivaling any Warmind. Perhaps it is still possible to cultivate a new golden age with a passive Siva under the watchful eye of a vanguard, or perhaps that of Rasputin. But for now, we are locked into a war without end. The light has faded and all our walls have come crashing down. Perhaps there is still hope. Perhaps not in Siva, but in humanity. Stay safe, Guardians. Hey everyone, Wally here. If you'd like to support the channel further, please feel free to check out the script link, my Patreon, and the new apparel in the Spreadshirt shop, all linked down below. If you want to join the conversation on our Discord server, we allow everyone in. Like the video if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe for more.